know that fork shifted again. Keep your distance.
Don't buy this machine unless you absolutely have to.
Machines like these save this pond build. Hey, what's up everybody? At the Pond Professor here. We are back in Minnesota and we had rain over the weekend. It's a little muddy. Big news alert, and I hate it. It's a cliche. We have a 3-inch rain event coming in. 3 inches of rain is a lot of water coming down in a very short amount of time. So right now it's all hands on deck. We have Stanley here, we have his partner Tim, we also have Zach, we have Chris Wilson from Aquascape, Greg Gill came in from Iowa, we have myself. All of us are here scrambling, scratching, making things happen, because what we need to do is we have to get the liner all the way pulled out. Remember what I was talking about last week when we were building this? It's a little bit of a challenge because we're in a corner. We have to work our way out of it. If we pulled the entire rubber membrane out, we would not have access to set the big rocks in the far end. Nice thing about working with the rubber membrane and geotextiles is the flexibility. We could push, we could pull, we could roll things up, we could pull things back. It gives us a lot of flexibility, which is truly a lifesaver on this particular project. So with that being said, want to get all those rocks on that far wall in place. We're also going to get the intake bays installed as well. So remember, the intake bay, that is going to be the filtering system, recirculating system for the entire feature, which is critical for overall water quality. We need to get that piece so we could slowly start pulling that rubber membrane out, because by the end of the day today, before that big rain hits, I have to have that entire membrane out. Otherwise, this entire thing is going to be a mud pit tomorrow. So we have to be conscious of all those different things. I know it's going to be a late night. Let's start hitting it.
Okay guys, I'm going to show you the machines that we have on site for this job. It is overkill. We've got my Bobcat S185. It is a tired skid steer. And when I mean tired, it's got tires and it's kind of tired. This is our main workhorse right here, the KX040 excavator with the thumb. Beautiful machine, awesome, nimble, gets in there, powerhouse, a good balance of power plus size. We've got the Kubota SVL 97-2. Now this big dog is here just because if we had any of those big massive boulders we needed to move up to the gate, we can still slide it through the gate, we can still get it in. We've got a tracked machine which is going to disperse that weight over a larger area. It's not going to dig in, it's not going to do as much damage. And then on the flip side of that coin, the exact opposite machine would be the cast loader. This machine, it always stays on site because I have about 8 acres of land here and I've got to do a lot of property maintenance, meaning I got to drive across my lawn. And unlike the Kubota that you seen earlier, anytime, that's called a skid steer, and you guys know that, but it's the technical term means it skids as it steers. So every time I turn, I am just ripping up all of my turf, my lawn, my driveways. I'm ripping up everything. Where this machine right here can turn on a dime. You can zip around, you can have super squishy, wet, muddy ground, and it does no turf damage. This machine will handle almost every attachment that this machine will handle. But we're not done yet. We brought in our boulder grapple machine. Now this is another tired machine. It's an older unit. It's a Daewoo. I call it a Daepoo. It's a piece of crap. I mean, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. Don't buy this machine unless you absolutely have to. I mean, we've got a CMP grapple on our machine right here. And this is designed to allow us to open this thumb up, grab boulders, and for building boulder walls, we can then manipulate it and put it in place. We're not building any boulder walls here, but we are sorting and separating. The writing was on the wall. I was working with Ed earlier, and he's legitimately walking over all my piles of rocks. And he's like, I want that one buried under there. Well, there's nothing else I could have used to grab it besides this, so I can, like the claw machine, you know, that claw game.
Who's in charge here?
You You can reach in there and grab it, and it is a fun machine, although it is tired. I just want to fly through this project. I want to make sure that we're not kind of leaving ourselves stuck in any way, shape, or form. So I have everything here, plus the kitchen sink, to make sure we're in good shape.
Since they're all warmed up, what are you up to?
It's going good. It's humid, I'm sweating. We are getting the backfill around the intake bay, aqua blocks, getting all that set up so we can start adding boulders around the edges, get it all sealed up, ready to go.
Chaos of a project is happening right in front of us. Rainstorms popping in and out. We made incredible progress yesterday. We worked well into the dark because we knew we had some heavy storms coming in. We tarped everything off, we protected ourselves, that worked out well. We are back at it. We're trying to get as much stuff done here as we can. Like any construction project, we are in the elements, so we have to make the best of it. So we have Alex and Zach behind me doing that block wall. That's gonna be a really, really important detail because it's gonna be a nice transition from the clean lines of the deck going down to the big craggy boulders down inside of the pond. We set a lot of rock yesterday. Remember the challenges that we had? We had to work our way out of the back of the water feature. We have a swim spa on one side. We have the barn on the other, massive fence behind me. So we are literally working our way out of a corner, which makes things a little bit slow, makes it very tedious, and it can be a little bit dangerous. So safety is our #1 goal. So we had to make sure Stanley in the machine, taking his time, swinging these boulders around right in between the deck, setting them down individually, piece by piece, which is the only way to make this happen. We got our fish cave down on the bottom. We're actually setting the next one in place, and I love the fact that we got our intake bay installed. The intake bay, if you're familiar with that, that is a customized pre-filter. The pumps are going to sit inside of it. All that water is going to be drawn into a narrow band going into the top. That's going to pick up any floating debris that falls in the pond. It's also going to bring in high dissolved oxygen water. The reason it's high dissolved oxygen, because it's in direct contact with the atmosphere. So very important from a functional aspect. So what I want to try to do right now, we're going to continue unfolding the liner. Remember, we're also coming in with some of that concrete cloth. Concrete cloth is not used on every one of our projects, so it's only used when you have large animals, if you have lots of interaction and things like that, that could potentially damage the liner. He's got 2 large dogs. One of them loves to dig, so I figured, well, why don't we put it in here just as a safety precaution? We don't want to have any problems, because once this pond is built, there's no way we're getting back in here to move these rocks unless we bring in a crane. So what we're trying to do right now before that rain comes in is finish the back side of the pond. Hopefully we'll be able to start excavation on that wetland later on this afternoon if everything holds up.
Hey Ed, can you grab me a load of sand for the bottom of the pond?
Yeah, it's been a few years, but I think I can get it.
Kitty's in back.
Got it. It's been a few years, but I think I got it. Woohoo! Oh yeah!
Ed, what the heck? I said I needed it in the bottom of the pond, not all over my driveway. You're such a good actor, Ed.
So we're getting ready to pull out the final section of the liner. We're gonna start to transition over into our wetland. What we have to think about though is we have that massive, and I mean it is a massive, massive stone. We have no way to, I don't think, to actually lift it. We might have to do some sort of a tandem lift or something like that. So what Greg is doing right now is he's preparing the spot where we could actually set this large boulder. So we need it somewhat level. He's compacting all that soil. We'll top it off with a little bit of sand. Our next phase is gonna continue putting sand across the bottom, pull the liner in place, then we're gonna do that connecting ridge. Remember, we had that separation between the wetland and the pond. We're gonna build up a earthen dam, basically, The reason we have to do that is we want to force all the water from the pumping system to actively go through the filter media. So that means we have to have a ridge of soil, and then the water is going to go up through that and it will crest over it and it will come back into the pond as a waterfall. What we're also going to be doing is coming in with a series of stepping stones, so you'll be able to walk kind of in between the wetland and the pond, which is going to give us access between the house and the barn.
Hey, just so you guys know, that fork shifted again. So just keep your distance.
We brought in our boulder grapple machine. Don't buy this machine unless you absolutely have to.
So what we're doing now is we had to do a little bit of a pivot. We just snapped one of our straps, actually the strongest one that we had, unfortunately, here on site. It's 12,500 pound lifting capacity, but we compromised it because when we lifted it the first time, the rock lifted unevenly. So now all of a sudden, all the weight was on one side, it started popping up, the strap slipped and it went along and it made a slice into the strap. Restrapped it, it actually ended up breaking in that location. So Nick Needham's gonna come on out, he's gonna save us. He's got a 2-inch double ply one, which I know will handle that rock. We're gonna restrap it, lift it up approximately a foot, and then we'll pull the liner underneath. You can see what Greg has been doing over here, trying to push it, pull it into position. We're still gonna have to lift it, re-spread some of that sand underneath. Once that's done, that will allow us to keep moving forward. We're kind of unfortunately at a standstill right now until we can get this problem solved.
That's fun. That is what makes our job fun. Not knowing if it's gonna work and trying anyway. You know, I've done this so many times I don't even get nervous anymore. I just sit there and go, if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. It's another day at the office. This is a blast. This stuff is the best.
When you were strapping it, did you think it was gonna really work?
No,
No?
not really, no.
It's always interesting, right? It's good. I'm glad it worked out.
Have you ever done something like that before with 3 machines?
No, never a three-way with machines. No.
All right, we've been making some great progress out here. We got the pond mostly done. We still got to get some more gravel down in the bottom. Remember, we're coming in with that concrete cloth, and that's because he's got a couple big dogs. I know they're gonna be out there digging around, splashing. The dogs just have a blast running around in here. So we wanna make sure he doesn't have any problems, because if you remember, there's no easy way to get back on this property. So we wanna make sure that we have everything covered.